Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Today what we're going to do is just have a quick look at the alpha Fedora 26. So what we're going to do is just, I've installed it. I haven't even set it up once the installation was complete. But the alpha of this has been out for a little over a month now, and I just have not gotten the chance to look at it yet. And since Fedora is quite a popular and quite a significant Linux distro, I thought I'd go ahead and have a look at it. Pre-disclosure is that Fedora has never been my favorite distro. A lot of it just because they take a little bit different of an open source philosophy, much closer to the Free Software Foundation, where if something is not an open source platform or more what they would say free software, then they generally make it even difficult to include. And so sometimes you got to fight with Codecs to make them work. I generally have to fight with guest editions for VirtualBox if I want it in full screen. I've been successful sometimes, and then of course when they do their updates it breaks those. So not a good distro to be testing around in a VirtualBox if you want something that's quote-unquote stable, and we definitely are not anticipating stability in an alpha release right now, of course. And so, we are likely going to encounter some bugs. That's quite okay. I don't really mind that because this is alpha, but I do want to see what it is that they have done differently in alpha 26 versus some of the other distributions. So, about Fedora, generally they use the Gnome desktop as their default. There are some other desktop options available, but also because it has Gnome, I'm not a big fan of Gnome. Just a general thing. There's just a lot of things with it that I don't really like. I don't really care for. To me, it just seems incomplete. It seems that there's parts of it that seem to be an afterthought to me. But we're going to have a look at that. And I'll show you some of those things that I don't like about it. And I'll show you some of the things that I like about what they've done with it. So we're going to dive in here first by having a look at their website. And so you can see at their website, you can come over here. It's getfedora.org is the name of their URL there. And Kitty wanted to come up and say hi.
Hi everybody, check out Fedora, it rocks.
All right, so Kitty's all about Fedora. He really likes it, so, so here you can come up, you can get the workstation, the server. I'm not sure what Atomic is. Let's see. Okay. Said I don't spend a lot of time over in the Fedora world. Here are where you can grab some of the other different options. So there's some ARM images. There's also some different desktop environments you can pick from. So you can come over here and get more information, certainly more information than I have about the distro. So we're already pushing the limits about my knowledge. Other than, I did set up a Fedora with how to create like a Mac-like system that I think stylistically looks a whole lot better than elementary. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive on into the distro here. So I'm going to transition over and see it's already telling me that the software has some new notifications. So just want to hold your mouse button down and scroll that up, and then that will get you your login screen. I give it a very nice, easy password of Fedora. You can see here that it's just logging in here first, and so I haven't even gone in here once I installed it. So I installed it, closed down the VirtualBox, took out the disk image, booted it back on, and that's where we are. So I'm going to keep an eye out for if there is any pop-ups, like if there's any popover type things, we will not be able to see them. So I'm going to keep an eye out for those and alert you when they show up, just because of how OBS is currently capturing the window here. We're going to go ahead and hit next. Over here, US English, which is good for me. So here, this is one of the things that I like about what Gnome does. You have the option for the location services for those that really like to use that. I hate location services, so I turn them off. But I highly, highly, highly support that they are in availability, because a lot of people do want to use location services with very specific things, and that's cool. Options is great. That's why I love Linux, is all of the options that we have available to us. And so I love the fact they have them. I don't like them, but this is not a negative for me. This is a positive because it grants us more choices and more options. But at our first login, I can now make that decision on my own. Automatic problem reporting, I usually would turn those off. I am going to keep this on right now because this is an alpha release, and anytime we're on an alpha release, a beta release, anything that's not a stable release, I generally will leave these on because it does help them to debug the software. If this were a distro that I was building out on my computer, this is a stable release, I would turn this off because I'm not a fan of them. But again, I like the option. All right, so now I can connect my online accounts. If you happen to use these, and this is, once again, the good thing about Gnome is it is really moving in that direction that a lot of other online software things are moving in, where if I take a smartphone, for example, I can go into the settings and attach my Google account to this, or I can attach my Microsoft, Lord help us, or Facebook even, like, I don't know who's going to help us with that. But we can go ahead and attach certain accounts to this, and it will integrate in with some of the features, which I don't know exactly how well they integrate. I might actually have to come in someday and log in with something just to see, but I'm not a huge fan of these types of things, and so it's not going to be something that I'm inclined to do. So I'm going to click skip, but again, a great thing, options, options, options. So if you like location services, you like being logged into your Facebook account, your Google account, your Microsoft account, you probably aren't a huge fan of my videos, but just guilt by association. But if that is you, the good thing about this is that you have that option. In fact, what I might even consider doing based on how this works, I might want to create a distro that is exclusively my online account distro, where I can set this up in one of my USB drives, spin me up a really good Fedora build on a USB 3 drive, log in with my account so they're perpetually logged in. Those are good options. I'm glad that these are options. Not something I would use, which is yet another fun reason why I probably like Linux Mint Cinnamon, is that I don't have to fight it with having to turn on or not turn on, and it's not a function I'm looking for over there. But if you are looking for that type of function, if you really like this mobile trend and the social media trend and the trend where your computer is perpetually logged into your accounts, check this out. And this isn't exclusive to GNOME. This is I'm sorry, not exclusive to Fedora. This is a GNOME thing. And so if I were to put like XFCE, I would not have these options to do this. But hey, this is the progress they're making in GNOME. Not the direction I personally prefer, but I love the fact that it's an option. We're going to skip those. Start using Fedora. So we get a nice welcome screen started in here. A couple of things before I dive any further here. Let me also tell you that while I was doing the installation, it did make sure, in fact, with some very comical pop-up boxes, you know, talking about this is an alpha, this is not meant for stable, blah, 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 which I fully knew going into, so that was no problem. But I loved their commentary on the things. It's like, you're out in the middle of the woods with bugs everywhere, bugs everywhere. It's great, awesome. But the installer was very handy, very easy to use. The installer for Fedora is great. One for Ubuntu I think is great. There's not a whole lot of installers I thought were horribly confusing, and this one's, it's different, but it's just as easy. So here you can they have some videos here, how to switch tasks, how to respond to messages and your notifications, all this kind of stuff. Here's how to do these. So I'll just go ahead and close that out. All right, so here we have, this is the default wallpaper apparently. I can right click on that and hit the change desktop background there. So I can change the background for either the lock screen or the background. So very much like a phone. And then you can choose the one. So you have to actually hit the select for it to change. So here you can pick whichever background you want. So it looks like there's just a small handful of backgrounds. So there's enough to do neat things, but there's not an overwhelming amount. So see, this is actually one that I liked in Ubuntu for a long time before they got rid of it. So I'll go ahead and use that one. Usually when I want to get to settings, I'll do the same thing. I'll just right-click on background, and then you can click the back arrow over here, and it goes into your main settings. Now, if you had turned off your privacy at the start, but you decide that, yeah, I kind of want to turn that location back on, in here under your privacy settings, you can actually see here we have the option to toggle this on or toggle this off. So screen lock on off, usage and history. So if you do not want the computer to remember any usages or histories, you can go ahead and do that. Or you can allow it to just keep recent histories, and then you can clear recent history here. All that's under the privacy tag. We can purge trash and temporary files. That's kind of a neat option because otherwise, like on Linux Mint, I don't know how I would delete the temporary files other than installing BleachBit. There might be an option, I don't know of it. But here you can actually come in and purge the temporary files and purge the trash as a separate option. And that's always a good option to have. And then here is your automatic problem reporting, which I enabled, so that's turned on. So you have those options inside of your GNOME menu. We've already looked at your background. Here's our notifications. So here we can get screen lock notifications or pop-up notifications, and then these are the various applications that can give us notifications. So I can turn on evolution, for example. And that's one of the things I like about Fedora is it comes with evolution as a email program, and that's my preferred Linux email application is Evolution. I like it better than I like Thunderbird, although I usually install both because I use Evolution for my primary emails that are my domain-based emails, and then I use Thunderbird for all those odds and ends accounts that I have to have with other things. File notifications, Rhythmbox, software notifications, so you have all that kind of stuff. And it looks like Kitty's back for round 2. There you go, Kitty.
Hi, peoples.
All right. Here's your online accounts. You can see here that there are more online accounts available than there were when we first started. It just had Google, Nextcloud, Facebook, and Microsoft. If you go in here into the settings, you can now go in, add Flickr, Pocket, Foursquare, Exchange, and just, I guess, some email. Basic email stuff and enterprise login. Not sure. All right. Regional and language. Here's your search functions. So here, this is if you want to do a search, where will it search? So I can actually have it turn on or turn off various aspects. So there's on or off, even weather was the only one disabled by default. Everything else is enabled. So you have the central contact systems. You have all of those central things. Of course, GNOME was looking at doing like a convergence thing as well to produce a phone application. I say more power to it, please. Although, because I'm not as familiar with it, and maybe somebody can leave this in the comments, I see here that under my search, I can search my contacts. Where do I actually add contacts? Is there a mail calendar, like a contact application somewhere in here? I just don't know that. Here's Bluetooth, which I do not have enabled over here, our displays, color, just your basic stuff here, your sound settings, and then under your system, here's our user, access, sharing. Here's your details. So you see we're running 8 GB on this VirtualBox. You can click your check for updates over here. All right. Now, the thing that I don't like about GNOME, what I had talked about before as far as not feeling complete. The first thing is if you go into the upper right-hand corner, we have our box, our drop-down here. This is like one drop-down box for all of these different functions. I like in most other distros where I can customize what's up there and each icon behaves on its own end. And I kind of like that. This to me feels clunky. Not everybody feels that way, of course. You can't access your settings here again. But that's, to me, it feels clunky that there's one that, you go up here, it's just one simple drop down for everything. But, that's kind of how it goes. Under your activities here, we can, now we pull up our sidebar here. I'm not sure exactly what the official terminology is for this. I'll call it the dock here for the purpose here, but here's our Firefox, Evolution, Rhythmbox, Shotwell, here's Files, Software, and then if you click on this guy here, we have our Show Applications. Now, if you're familiar with a Mac, this here looks a whole lot like your Mac. Hey, here's your contacts. Look at that. Local address book, online accounts. Okay, that's cool. So you can actually select your address book and enter your contacts here. Okay, that's cool. Like I said, I don't use Gnome a lot. I don't use Fedora much at all. So here's your calendar. So the thing about it is a much more modern, fluid interface. Reminds you a whole lot more of a tablet, and if you want a computer that is moving in that direction, like Mac does, like Windows does, in those respects, Fedora is very possibly one of the, well, I guess Gnome is very possibly one of the most advanced desktop environments in those respects. I just don't generally like all those types of features and functions. I like being able to see a little calendar on the side. So on my KDE over here, right here is a calendar, just so I can quickly look at it and see what day it is. And then I have my weather application over here, and a quick application bar over here that's different from my main toolbar one that is kind of out of the screen of the camera there. All right. But everything else on this just looks really nice, looks slick. Here's your weather. This used to crash on me. I'm not sure if it's going to anymore. Okay, let's see. So there you go. Just typed in State College and it can find it really quick. That's correct. Well, I tried clicking it, I tried pushing enter, I tried all sorts of things. Let's see. There it goes. Now it went there. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty consistent with the weather map over here. Here's today, here's tomorrow. So that's neat. And of course, you can set this up for notification. So if there's some weather application, some weather notification, like the tornadoes are coming, the tornadoes are going. Oh, not again. So you can see the other applications. It's very light. This is, again, that whether it's a positive or it's a negative to you, the amount of system tools or lack thereof. I guess this does have enough system tools for me. We can manage archives. We have our character map, disks, disk usages. The only one I'm not seeing right away is I'm not seeing an option for like a USB writer, but that's actually pretty easy to work through. We can work without that. So, all right. We have LibreOffice installed. It looks like probably just the Impress, the word processor, and the spreadsheet application. Let's just go ahead and boot up the base, though, and see if there's anything else. Let's see. Okay, that was just draw. I thought that was the base. That's the draw, though. The other thing I like about this is the icon packs that they pick are very modern. But they're not. Well, I guess they're not necessarily as modern. They're more of the skeuomorphic type icons. They're the icons I like. I don't like a lot of the fancy new icons that are just flat, monotonous. I don't care for those. I like these icons. They're very attractive icons to me. So for me, that's kind of a win. Let's see what Documents is. I'm not sure what Documents is. Somebody can fill me in if you want. Okay, so one of the downsides that a lot of people have always said about Fedora is it does not come with a GNOME tweak tool by default. And a lot of people are saying it probably should. And I kind of agree. I think that the tweak tool is The tweak tool is really the thing that allows you to make this thing your own. And for me, I wouldn't want to use it like this. Like, I like working off the desktop. I can't do anything off the desktop. Installing the tweak tool will allow me to do that. So I'm going to go into the software here, and we're going to test installing some software. And I did get a notification. Notifications will pull up under here under the calendar. So here it's telling me important OS updates are ready to go. So there's 37 different updates. I do not want to take the time on a video to update all these, but you can see it's GStreamer media codecs. That's interesting. See, I'm not going to restart an update. That starts to sound more like Windows. I'm going to come over here and use the search function, and I'm going to search for the tweak tool. Okay, so you can see that that's installing pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and head into software. So well, let's launch this first. Actually, what I want to do is I want to see if I can access my my media files here. Cancel. So it's taking this long, so that's probably indicating that either SMB is not on or it's not wanting to connect to anything on my server there. So. Oh, it does. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead and switch this just back to the website view for a minute there while I enter some passwords. I'm going to test if codecs are actually working here or not. Okay, so moving something into music works just fine. So we're going to, that's fine. Actually, I'll just go ahead and transition back now. Go ahead and unmount that. So that's not a big deal. So this is an MP3, as you can see. It's evil. It's an MP3. Double click that, see what happens. Yep, so you see that pretty much nothing is going to happen. There you go. So it tells me that additional codecs are required. Ooh, I bet Fedora's fixing the codecs issue. Let me grab my speakers, see if they work. Ooh, we have sound. Okay, that is a major improvement to Fedora. You used to have to go into Fedora and fight the codecs, full-on terminal war, to get codecs to working at all. And some people were still not successful. But that worked beautifully. It popped right up exactly what I thought it would do. What it used to do is it'd take you to a page explaining why they do not want to provide you easy codecs. You had to add some extra repositories and then install the codecs from there. And so that is absolutely a major, major win for the new Fedora, is that the codecs are that easy. And they might have put that in back in 25, but I don't remember it being there. All right, so now with the Gnome tweak tool, now I can turn on or off global dark themes. I can change my cursors, my icons, all this kind of stuff. For my desktop, I can now turn on the desktop icons, and that's the thing that I really like to do. Let's see, extensions. The other thing is you might want your maximize and minimize buttons. And I gotta remember where those are. Here we go. So here I can add my maximize and my minimize buttons. These are all little things that some people are like, why don't they do this automatically, or at least give you the tweak tool so you can do it? Because a lot of people, there's entire guides out there, what do you do when you first install Fedora? And, you know, that's kind of the thing that happens is people will have to walk through those guides. And I think that Fedora would be a much more friendly distro had they given you more options out of the box to do that. Here's where I can add startup applications. There's power, keyboard and mouse. I can change my fonts. So your extensions will, what this does is it's going to pop up Firefox, and there is a Firefox plugin that will allow you to install various extensions. So to do this, I usually have to come in and enable this. Okay, so Gnome shell extension. I want to put this to always activate. Otherwise, I may not be able to actually install anything. So now I just click on the individual thing here, toggle the button over here, and this will install this. And so you can browse the various extensions. So there's a lot of cool functionality. Of course, you can see there's 79 pages of these. Let's go ahead and install a system monitor if it's not already installed. I want to see what this is using as far as functionality. Uh-oh, error. Oh no. I have an error. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. We might already have one installed. I didn't look earlier. We probably did. It's probably been here all along. All right. So here's our system usage. So right now it's running 1.8 gigabytes of memory. And let's see. What's using the most right now? So the system monitor is using the most memory right now. Okay, that's good to know. Now it is using 1.8 gigabytes of memory, so you know that is taking a lot of memory. I think Farron OS takes 1.4 gigabytes. Cinnamon takes like 900 or something, or 900 megabytes, maybe 800 megabytes. I don't remember off the top. In fact, duh, I'm on a Cinnamon computer. Why don't I just check? Of course, I'm running a boatload of other stuff too, so it's not exactly like I'm going to be able to tell easily. But at least I can probably kick out the top usages there. Let's see. Let me see, where's my scene at? Okay, there we are. So here's what my Cinnamon's running right now. I'm actually running 7 gigabytes of memory right now, but probably a lot of that is the probably most of that is actually the VirtualBox taking its, because I have given it 8 gigabytes of my memory. So, but you can see that these are actually taking a lot of system memory there in those items. OBS is taking a ton. Firefox is taking some. Cinnamon's taking a little bit. So you can see that it's not like this super system hog, but hard to say exactly. But 1.8 gigabytes for not doing anything else on the system right now is pretty heavy. So take that in mind if you are looking at wanting to run Fedora. It is going to be a little bit heavier on your system resources. Well, okay, here's another thing is when you first turn on the icons, you'll see that they're massively huge. To change that, I'm gonna, let's see if I can remember how to do that off the top. It's over here. There you go. Pull down this context menu and you can size them the way that you want. Now it's kind of global, so however they're sized in one place, it will go everywhere, which is just fine. So there you can see how we look. All right, so let's see, anything else? Overall, I didn't have any system crashes, didn't have anything else that was a major issue. I'm not sure if the high system resources is just because we're on an alpha, they haven't worked out some of the things. If you use Gnome and particularly Fedora Gnome on any regular basis, let me know what your system numbers look like as far as your basics. But anyway, this is a quick test drive of Fedora 26 Alpha. It's off to a great start, and I'll tell you, with that Codecs issue fixed, I don't know, I might have to build me one of these and play with the integrated accounts a little bit more, figure out the contacts, maybe have a secondary operating system that that stores all my extra contacts and things like that. Who knows? In fact, I might even try and import a what is it, OVC? I don't know, VCF file? I don't know, whatever that thing's called. Make it work better. I don't know. Anyway, this has been Fedora. Hope that this is enjoyable for you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.